How are you?
Really well, thank you. Yourself?
We've trained together a couple of times today. We just thought we'd run through some Gyaku-te techniques. In Japanese called Gyaku-te, which means it's often translated as hand-hold reversals. But the reality is it's just grappling. It's just hand grappling, releasing grips and so on. And so we're going to run through some of those because they can be really, really useful. A lot of people say, well, why would you stand there and practice that? Well, if you practice it in the wrong way, of course, there's no real practical value to it. But if you drill the handhold reversals realistically, they're actually very, very common. I mean, when you're grappling with someone, it's not unusual at all to control someone's arm, or if they grab you, counter by controlling their arm and using that to your advantage. So today we're going to look at some of those, and maybe you'll enjoy them.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, good on you. So we'll get right into it. We won't wait. So handhold reversals take a number of different forms. It may be that I simply break down. So this movement here, there's a couple of really nice ones. This and this translate really nicely. So what I do in that situation there, quite often if their hands are up, knock their hand down. And you combine that with step to the side, or knock both their hands down, come in and continue like that. So I'm here, their hands are up, maybe their defense is solid. So what I'll do is I'll fake, come out, and I'll do that movement. Down, headbutt, elbow, and then continue from there into the grappling range 4. Another way to look at it too is if he grabs my hands, like that, okay? Sometimes they do that because they just don't know what to do. They want to grab your hand so you can't hit them. They try and headbutt you and things like that. So this is where this movement comes in. So the Musubi Dutch movement, look, I come up here, twist. So I'll turn around here so you can see kind of at that angle. I come in here like this, look, up, and hit behind his wrist. I grab the beefy part of the thumb and then I twist. So I come in, one, there like that, and twist. It's very debilitating. Cracko, like that. And I just keep twisting, and they fall. Use the body replacement principle. Once again, he grabs both wrists. He's trying to headbutt me. Boom, I just keep away. And as I come up, both hands come in front of my face, and I've grabbed that hand. Done slowly. Up, 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 there. If he takes his hands away, it's that movement. Up, up, up. I grab the wrist, and I can just continue with one hand, push the head down, or I can take the fingers, body replacement, and crack. And if you do that movement sharply, there's guaranteed you're going to bust a wrist. It's probably one of the most powerful wrist releases. Okay, so that's the two hand. That's one way to interpret the karate movement. This horse movement from there, and the other way is to go up there in those two movements. They're very, very practical. Is when you're just holding like this. You want to get control of someone, and you use that hand. Okay, so we've got same side grabs. We've got same side grab reverse. Got opposite side grab, two hand grab, and what I think is probably one of the most potent wrist grabs is two hands like this. I like this a lot because I can pull in, bang, headbutt there. If he pulls his arm back, I can lift it and attack the leg like that. Very powerful. In here like this. If he starts to go to my back, you got that too. And if I want, I can do a Steve Seagal there. Oh, we're in trouble now. He goes to my back. Woo! Look. So let's just look at some of the ways we can deal with these wrist controls. Wrists can work against the grab, against the collar tie, a strong collar there. I come up here like, let's go this side. So boom, there like this, can pull off, and I have the 2-on-1 here. That's really strong. I never want to be like this with my head up like a a bird looking around. I want to be a turtle, come in there. And I take it off there. So then, boom, there. And I have this pressure down like that. That's very strong. He may have the underhook. He goes underhook there. Boom, I've got to swim back that underhook and come in there. He may have a grab or anything like that, in which I'm coming in there like this. If he grabs the gi, that's very strong. I'll explain that more clearly in a sec. But at the moment, let's just work on the idea that he's not so much grabbing the gi, he's going to grab me or punch me. Boom. We get this arm drag here. Okay, the arm drags are really the bread and butter of grappling, and we need to know them in karate. So as the punch comes, I block. I just do the tencho block, come up, 2 hands, and then pull. One on the wrist, one on the armpit, and I pull, and I finish with the sai-ha movement. Sai-ha, the last movement out of sai-ha. Okay, so as the arm comes up, there. Collar tie comes on, boom, there, like this. The way you get the collar tie off, if you're not sure, is, first of all, don't let him get it on, because a good collar tie is very hard to get off. I don't care what anyone says. One way to do it, if he gets a really strong collar tie, it's very heavy down, what I want to do is just come up here and pull it off your head like that. It's very practical. But that it gives him opportunities, because you've raised both arms, which means he's just going to drop level and take your legs out. Okay? So what I like to do here instead is shrug. So if Mitch takes his hand away, it's like this. I'm bringing my shoulder up to my ear. Notice I don't take my ear to my shoulder. I bring my shoulder to my ear. Shoulder comes up, and then I hit. And then I turn behind. See, like that? 1, 2, and I hold this like it's a long-lost baby. Put my shoulder vertical of his and put pressure down there. So that's to release the collar tie. Shrug, off, good strong grip here, good strong grip. You can even work your way up here and grab the arm so you have both hands on the top. Now I can attack the legs there, like that, by control. If I hang on here and do that, there's too much movement in his elbow, he get his arm out. So what I like to do is, after I take the collar tie off, 1, 2, 3, work your way up to here now. Now I'm around his elbow. Now he tries to pull his elbow out. It's much harder, and I have time to attack his legs. Against the wrist grabs, okay, probably the most common. They grab you and they want to pull you into a punch or a headbutt like that. So I want to move off. But as I do it, look, let's go this hand so you can see. I simply open, and I don't just pull my hand out. Sometimes that'll work, especially if you work towards the gap. Always pull towards the thumb and the gap. You might get it out, but if it's a strong grip, there's zero chance of getting it out. But what I do is I take my thumb towards me and my elbow towards his elbow. Real tight grip. I just take my elbow towards him and my thumb towards me, like that. And that's enough to get it off. Sometimes what you want to do is you come up here and twist and throw. That's exactly the same as this movement here. Boom, 2 hands there, come up. Well, if he just grabs one hand, it's the same thing. Bang, there, and take them down, or close the hands like that. Up, up, up. Just turn my hand up. Turn hand up, and I hit behind. There. I do that to kind of weaken his grip. Bang. Squeeze the thumb tight and twist. I twist up here and grab the thumb. You see where I grab the thumb there around the mound of Venus and twist. So when you go up and down really hard, up, down really hard, it can really, really wreck a wrist. The wrist wrecker, that one, boom, and hit the fingers there. So that tells me one of the things you want to try to avoid if you can is when you grab someone, don't grab them like that. This is a common way that we're taught to defend against, but in reality, anyone who knows how to wrestle or grapple would not grab you like that. They grab you like that. So I hold Mitch like this, he gets out, boom. There's another great way of doing it. Just hit the hand across. Now I do it like this and he gets out. It's much harder, instantly much harder. It's not impossible. It just takes a second or two longer, which is enough for him to hit or to drag or to duck under and go behind like that. So from a wrestling perspective, that hold is much stronger than this hold. That allows them to come under here as well, go behind. So that reverse grip is much stronger. You either twist out there and pull in, or another way to do it is hit get on butter. There like that. There, hit across, get on butter, back fist palm, sorry. So once again, he gets that grip. I don't want to hang around. He's got too many controls here. So I move off and hit on the way through. Get on butter, back fist, punch or palm heel. I don't like to punch because my hands are getting old and sore. From there, if he's got that grip, strong down, hit on the way through, get on or hook, palm heel, back fist. It's almost like out of a kung fu movie. Don't underestimate that. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's one way. That's a really strong grip here. To deal with it, I recommend get on butter. I remember seeing a book once, 108 applications for get on butter. It's probably still around. I don't know. I didn't buy it. Just flicked through it. Really interesting. Get on butter is really, really practical in a lot of reasons. Even to the point, for example, if I do a choke on Mitch, I come in here like this, get the choke here, look, and then I turn the angle and look. Get on butter. Come in, nice and deep, around his head, and look. Get on butter, right there, like that. So that get on butter application is very, very sound. Bang, 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 like that. Someday someone will make a kata out of that, I reckon. Yeah. But what if he's got two hands on me? That's much stronger. The good thing about someone with grabbing you with two hands is they don't have much defense. They grab you two hands, just cracking, bang, bang, like that. Even a headbutt and a palm heel. Okay, because the two hands are down, they're not going to be able to defend it. But if you need to get it out, one good way is to drop your weight and then come back up again. Drop your weight, get underneath it, and come up. Now, if Mitch really bites it on strong, maybe I can get out, maybe I can't. The easy way is to just reach through and grab my own hand and then pull it up like that. So that's a good way to get out of that two-hand grip. Remember that if he has two hands like that, it's kind of debilitating for him, not so much for me. I can still punch him and everything, but what's he going to do from there? Usually this is what you do if they had a knife or something like that. But even then, you just pass it to the other hand. Okay, so be very careful about getting tunnel focused on that. If I've got a knife in my hand, he grabs it, all I do is I pass it to my other hand and you're in big trouble there. So make sure you create movement all the time. When he does that, he's going to pull me down and try and break my balance all the time, things like that. Okay, but in the meantime, look, I can even grab my own thumb. Pull my thumb up, there like that. That breaks that grip as well. Cross grip doesn't happen so much, but it can once again. Maybe they're trying to stop. You have something in your hands or they're trying to stop you there. A really nice thing to do here is hit the hand. Hit the hand and tension. Cool. And that there's an incredible connection between this wrist and that knee. Watch, when I put pressure on this wrist, look, that knee bends. Right, the arcs of tension work in mysterious ways. Okay, so if he gets that wrist there, once again, you can palm heel. Also, if he tries to punch with that hand, I can move out this way and get away from the punch. Okay, there, round. But notice I keep my hand attached to, his hand attached to mine. 1, 2, and then I shot down. The main key to that is to make sure that the back of his hand is directly in line with his chest. There. So if you watch, when I get that line exactly in line and I start to twist down, there's that connection to the knees again. It's very debilitating. So he grabs there, boom, pull around and then come on top. And then I keep the wrist there and chop down on the wrist. So you're doing this to his wrist. See that movement there? I'll stand and put in that movement like that. Very, very painful. Boom, bang, crack. Even if he's got a high pain threshold, okay, that breaks his balance enough. So you've got good thigh kicks and good double leg sweeps there as well. We've got 1, 2, 3. It's not often you see that. If he grabs me like that, boom, you just move your arm aside and move to his back, and you take control of his back. So, but you don't often see that. If you do, all you do is open your hand and just push in, and the hand just comes straight out. So it's you won't often see it. Some guys might end up there at some point. You just pull the arm out like that. Two hands, once again, hit there. Another good one for two hands is you pull down, and as they pull their arms apart, you come all the way up, and you whack the back of their wrists against each other. There, like that. We're here. Clap, boom, bang, up there like that. If the hand still grips, that's when you come underneath and you do the early one here. Another one you often see is a grip to the lapel. And as he grips the lapel, quite often we're taught, and this works to a large degree, especially someone around your own size and strength. I can get both my fingers on the wrist, and as I step back, I pull off. Then I can continue on with an arm drag. The problem with that is I've been in situations more than once where that grip's on, it's not coming off. Okay, in karate, of course, you can whack him in the head and do whatever you like, but in grappling, you can't. You've got to break that grip. So what I like to do there is actually fold over and lock his hand in this way. Now it's hard for him to get out because I've locked his hand in position. I have my arm against his arm. Now I just double lock it by grabbing in. So you feel how tight that is on your hand?
Yeah.
So he tries to pull his hand out, and it's not impossible, but it's really hard. Okay, he's got to really work to get it out. Now, having said that, the common way you're taught to get this out is turn and bang. Okay, once again, the back of the hand is in line with the middle of the chest. Okay, I turn here, turn. So easy, right? Okay, don't let me turn your hand this time. Not going anywhere. My arm versus his arm, it's not going anywhere. But the smoke and mirrors magic of angles and leverage. When my opponent is compliant, it's really easy. But then all of a sudden he says, well, I'm not going to comply anymore. And I try to turn his hand and I just can't. That's where this comes in. So now I'm not turning his wrist. I'm using leverage. What is leverage? I describe leverage as more and more of my body.
Against less and less of.
Yes, against less and less of his. So I want to work the wrist. My wrist versus his wrist. He's young, strong, fit, and good looking. He's going to beat me every time. But now when I use my body, I'll get a little closer so you can see. Watch the angle of my body. Now I tip my body back because just let go. I'm trying to do this to his hand, trying to make his hand go up, 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 and around like that. So the way I do that is I tip my body up and see without my hand on top of his, as I tip my body, see how his hand's coming horizontal? And then as I keep going, I turn it around with my body. So I lock that in there. And now when I do it, I come up and he's in so much trouble. So now I try with my hand. He's too strong. He bites in. When he bites in really hard, now try this. Won't work. I've tried this. It won't work. What I'm going to do is attach his hand strongly to my body. And then I use momentum of my arm and I come around here. And then I drop it down. And that works really, really good. Use the other hand so you can see. Bang here. Try to turn it, won't work. I get over and I change the plane, change the angle of my body. And then I come up and now I have his hand vertical and you can finish the technique. So there you have some wrist escapes. If you've got any questions or comments, please put them in because we have a little bit of time. But the important thing to remember is you need to spend time on it. So here's one way that we have spent time with this. And remember, you either facilitate your partner's success or frustrate their success. There's a time and place for both. When you're drilling with a friend or a partner, then you want to facilitate their success. So it means when you do it, you give them just enough resistance to allow them to change. You're just grabbing. I grab here, he comes out of it, he changes, and we constantly flow like this. Bang. Arm drag. Boom. Wrist lock. Grab here like this. Bang. So we just flow through it like that. Bang. Nice and easy. See, there's very little resistance. If you find yourself in a place where there's resistance, just change angles and look for that leverage. Play, boom. He breaks out of it, I continue on. He breaks out of it, I change angles. He breaks out, I'm in there. Boom. See, now you look at this and you think, well, it's not, they're not being realistic. They're going, yes, we're going slow motion on purpose because it's the flow and the sensitivity that you want to develop. Okay? Don't imagine that this is the answer to everything. What this does is it gives you incredible continuity when you are attacked. Boom, you just move on. Yes, bang. You don't pause for a second. So you don't pause, you just keep playing with it. And that's a really good approach to developing the sensitivity. But of course, you start that sensitivity by understanding the way to improve the leverage. When you grab, always break towards the gap between the fingers and the thumb. When he grabs my hand here, I don't want to try and break it away towards his fingers. I try and break it away towards the gap between the fingers and the thumb. There's nothing there. So logically, that's the weakest part of the grip around your wrist. Bang. Even if someone had small wrists and you had long fingers, that's still the weakest part of the grip. There like that. Twist away. So when you're doing these wrist movements, especially if you get into grappling, remember you transition from the punch range, play around with these because one of the fundamental key to the range for stand-up grappling is the arm and wrist control. You've got the collar ties, the neck chops, the collar ties, the arm drags, the underhooks. They're all part of Gyaku-te. And Gyaku-te, as I said, is Japanese for reverse hand. So you could say Gyaku-te is I'm reversing, he holds my hand, well, I'm going to reverse and hold his hand. Well, that's one of the fundamental tricks of translating language is always the most accurate translation is not necessarily the most accurate translation. So Gyaku-te, reverse hand, it's easier just to describe it as grappling. When I translate Gyaku-te, I always translate it as grappling, which in English gives you the feeling that that's what you're doing, controlling and grabbing and things like that. So I think that's very important to work those skills. Range 1 kicks, range 2 punches. If you want to go from punches into headbutts and elbows and shut those headbutts and elbows down, clearly the first thing you're going to do is come in and grab and get control of their arms and their head. Yeah, that's a good point, Michelle. I think the elbow direction probably gives it, off the top of my head, probably gives it energy. So if he grabs my wrist, I don't want to just pull. I want to push my elbow towards him too. So I like to actually drive my elbow into his arm, and that creates the leverage. See this? One thing to pull my hand away, it's another thing to push my elbow on his arm. That's very important. If he grabs it in the normal way, even from there, look, turn my thumb, pull it towards me, take my elbow to his elbow. And that creates the leverage. Good point. Here, 2 hands even. Look, 2 hands. I pull it up, and I don't just pull my hand up, but I push my elbow towards his belly. There, like that. If he's short, you could even probably pop it up into the jaw, like that. The hand is connected to the elbow. The wrist is connected to the elbow. So you're always going to increase leverage by pushing and pulling, rather than just pull the wrist. You can never get control of the wrist by controlling the wrist. You control the wrist by the wrist and the elbow. Okay, especially if you're doing arm bars and things like that. If I want to do something on the wrist, I need to control the elbow. If I want to do something on the elbow, I need to control the shoulder. If I want to get a wrist lock, for example, look, I just put a wrist lock on. there's nothing without, look, there's my wrist lock. No.
Oh.
Just let comply. Good. How's that?
I can feel it, but it's
Pretty tough, isn't it, man? Okay. Because he's complying. But in reality, I do this. He just moves his elbow out of the way and I have nothing. So if I want to get the wrist, I'm going to have to control the elbow as well. Makes a big difference, right?
just a bit.
Muscle fiber makeup has far less impact on your success with this than technique. I mean, at the end of the day, the fast man will always beat the slower man, but the technical man who's much more capable will beat the fast man who doesn't have good technique, I think, anyway. You know. There you have it. Us. Short session. I hope you got something out of that. Remember, let's just quickly review so you can have a quick look at this. So we have grabs on one side, grabs on the other side, grabs with the reverse hand, two-hand grabs normal, baseball grip. These are all possibles. Okay, remember the number one rule if they have two hands holding your hand is they don't have very good defense at the moment. So you just go crack, palm heel, or even just poke them in the eyes. Do what you need to do. But a good whack like this, I love this movement. Slap, tetsui right back, or slap, back fist right back. And they still haven't let go of your hand. Usually about there, they'll start to let go of their hand, like that, okay? But if I'm there, I can leave her in this way, grab my own thumb, hit first. You hit first, I guarantee the grip will weaken a little bit. And especially if it doesn't, hit them again. And then, it starts to weaken. Okay, one hand towards the air between the thumb and the fingers. Remember, like that. Take my elbow towards him. Reverse hand like that. I'm going to come gedanbare there like that and hit another one too from here, which I love. This normal one there. Just in this position, there, back fist. That works really well too. 1, 2, bang. That's really strong. Like that. That was so fast. I didn't even see it.
Did you do something?
No, I did 3 times. Yeah. Okay, here, back fist. Or there, back fist. But I like this snap one. Another good one too is if I want to get the hand and I'm trying to grab it and I can't, he keeps pulling it out. One thing that Gene LaBelle taught is I slap and grab. So you come in here, just like that. You slap the hand into your grip, and you have the arm drag there like that. That's pretty cool too. The two-hand grip here is very strong. I like that because when he pulls his hand back, you open it up, attack the leg. Or when he pulls his hand back, up and go behind like that. So you can release one hand and manipulate the line of movement of his arm with the other. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that. If you've got any comments, by all means, leave a comment. But the Patreon family is really helping. So if you want to contribute, by all means, get along. See the link below to Patreon. And also spread the word. You know, that's the biggest thing. If we can get my subscriber base up to about 5 or 10 million, that'll make a big difference. I reckon that $13 could even crack the $20 mark. Yeah, there you go. Us. Hello, can you show me a basic Gyaku-te drill? Okay, Dwayne, you recommend Seiken or Shote for small hand, female or male? Never Seiken, always Tetsui, I would say, and palm heel. I would avoid Seiken altogether. Not to mention the legal ramifications of everyone's got a camera. You hit someone like that, as opposed to that, you can always say, I just push them.
Is that part of your thing too, Shyam, where it's something soft to something hard?
Yep, that has a lot to do with it. The principle of hitting hard with soft, soft with hard. So the body is generally muscle. That's when you hit it with a fist. But the face is generally bone. So I would hit with tetsui, which is muscle, or palm heel. Okay. And tetsui is very, very powerful. Don't underestimate it, tetsui. You hit across the neck with tetsui there, even a back fist there. I would use a back fist on the neck. I'd be less inclined to use it there. Maybe I would on the top of the eye to get the cut, to cause the bleeding in the eye. But generally speaking, the back fist is really strong. The knife hand is strong, but it's easy to hurt your hand. Easier to hurt your hand in a knife hand than it is to hurt your hand in a tetsui. In terms of a fundamental Gyaku-te drill, I like this idea of grabbing the wrist and the elbow, because that can lead into a lot of things. When he tries to pull his wrist out, I still have the elbow. And with that, you can move. So a good way to do it is he grabs my arm like that, the elbow and wrist there. What I do is I'll do tensho and come around and grab him like that. Then he does the same thing back and grabs. And this sort of movement here. And then you can come in here and drag. Come in there. So we have the arm there. I counter it by doing exactly the same movement, a little bit like sticky hand sort of thing. There like that. There like that. And then I can come under there, change. We're on the other hand now.
So I come under.
And grab my elbow with this hand. Well, Mitch hasn't done this with me.
No.
There, boom, there like this. And then he comes back and grabs my elbow. There. That's it. So we end up with 2 on 1. See where his hands are? 2 on 1. I go to there. He comes back, goes to there. And then I come under the far side arm and I switch hands. Okay? And then he grabs.
No.
You grab my elbow. Boom, and then I grab there. He comes back and controls me. I go there. If he wants, he can go under the far side arm. Boom, and then take control there like that. You see? The other thing you can do for good Gyaku-te is as he grabs, uchi-uke, arm drag. Look, uchi-uke, arm. I don't even have to drag. I just get used to that movement there. This is a really good drill. A good thing about it is when you do it with your eyes closed, watch. I'm going to do it with the eyes closed for good reason. I never want to determine which technique I use by which arm he uses. I want to determine which side he pushes. So if it's on this side, it's always uchi-uke with that hand. But if he pushes with that side with the same hand, I can be confused if I'm working whichever hand he's using. Instead, I use exactly the same. So if my left shoulder is being touched, it's my left uchi-uke. Left shoulder being touched, opposite arm even, is still my uchi-uke. The only difference is if he uses that arm, it becomes an arm drag. If it's that arm, it becomes a 2 on 1, like that. So a good drill, I close my eyes and he just touches my shoulder. See, I don't respond to which arm he uses. I respond to which shoulder is being touched. That's a really, really good drill to work on. Anyway, there you have it. Us, do you recommend Seiken or Shota? Yeah, we got that. I would always recommend, even for men, in certain circumstances, I prefer Tetsui, Shote against the face. Because there's less chance of damaging your hand. Knife hand across the neck, back fist, tetsui on the neck like that. And if you want to hit in the face, the palm heel. So that's why when you do makiwara, I spend much more time here, 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 and here than I do punching there. Make your hand strong all the way around. Yeah, I think that was a lot of fun. I hope you just go back over the video, download it if you want, pull it apart, take one isolated technique from it, and drill it, and I think you'll find that it'll turn up in your training.
When we do the grappling, you do so much 2 on 1 and arm drags and collar ties. That's such a big part of it. So it's great to do this over and over.
Well, I think, you combine that with the posting, the chop down collar ties, the 2 on 1s and the arm drags, and that gives you a really solid, and the underhooks, of course. The underhooks are pretty important. You work those underhooks, arm drag, 2 on 1 controls, collar tie. That's pretty well. You can build an incredible skill level for the range 4 around those skills only. Anyway, thank you, folks. Us, Mitch,
thank you.
Good to see you.
Appreciate
It's our 3rd time training together today, and it's always good to be here with Mitch. See you next week. Us, thank you very much.